Also a look at the Loyola men's golf team.
Plus Chicago Bear draft updates.
I'm Amelia Villhauer.
And I'm Samantha Martinez.
All this and so much more.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now.
Welcome back, sports fans. The Ramblers are back from their spring break, and we have plenty of sports news to bring you.
It was break for most students, but game time for the Loyola Ramblers men's basketball team as they competed in the Atlantic 10 tournament in Brooklyn, New York.
That's right, Samantha. In case you missed last week's episode, the Ramblers traveled to the Barclays Center, home of the Brooklyn Nets, and then the WNBA's New York Liberty, where they competed for the Atlantic 10 championship title. Before the game, Sister Jean and Loyola fans hosted a pep rally in the lobby of the hotel to send the team off before their matchup against St. Joseph's. Despite another late game comeback, the Ramblers weren't able to pull off the win, falling 72-67 to the Hawks. For in-depth highlights of the game, check out last week's episode.
Congrats to the VCU Rams on their A10 championship and best of luck in the big dance. Now here's executive producer Gabbi Lumma with the March Madness update you don't want to miss.
Well, everyone, it's that time of year again where we're all frantically filling out brackets and hoping they won't get busted after the first round of the NCAA March Madness tournament. Spoiler alert, the odds of creating a perfect bracket are 1 in 9.2 quintillion. Yes, you heard me right. March Madness is the NCAA's annual postseason tournament featuring 68 teams who face off throughout 6 rounds of games until the pool of 68 reaches 2 in the national championship. The teams are divided into 4 regions: East, South, Midwest, and West. The 4 number 1 seeds this year features the East's Purdue, the South's Alabama, the Midwest's Houston, and the West's Kansas, who is also trying to defend its national title, Rock Chalk. The national championship will take place April 3rd in Houston, Texas at Energy Stadium. Happy March, Ramblers, and enjoy the madness. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm executive producer Gabbi Lumma.
Thanks, Gabby. Everyone here at RSL is excited about this year's March Madness season with all of our brackets ready. We can't wait to see how it turns out this year. Now, on to football. The 2023 NFL Draft has fans across the country buzzing in anticipation for what's to come. Here to talk about the Chicago Bears and their recent news with the draft is William Bazzone.
Big news came out of Hallis Hall last Friday, March 10th, when the Chicago Bears traded their first overall selection in this year's NFL Draft to the Carolina Panthers. In exchange, the Bears received wide receiver DJ Moore and 4 draft picks: Carolina's first and second round selections this year, a first rounder in 2024, as well as a second round pick in the 2025 draft. In a press release on the Bears website, General Manager Ryan Poles said, quote, "We are excited about the additional picks acquired, including staying in the top 10 selections this year, but also the addition of a proven and dynamic playmaker in DJ Moore. Fans will have to bear down for what could be a very exciting season for the team." For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm William Bazzone.
In more sports news, the World Baseball Classic, an international baseball tournament, is currently taking place in Miami, Florida, featuring teams from across the globe, including teams such as USA, Cuba, and Japan. The tournament gives players a chance to compete with their home countries outside of their respective professional teams. The tournament finishes the quarterfinal round March 18th after a matchup between the USA and Venezuela. The winner will advance to the semifinal 1 round and face Cuba. The winner of Puerto Rico and Mexico will advance to the semifinal 2 round and face Japan. We're excited to see who walks away with the win March 21st in the championship.
As Loyola's winter sports season comes to an end, its spring sports are in full swing. Here's Keough with an update on the Loyola's men's golf team.
During spring break, the Loyola men's golf team enjoyed some success, finishing in a tie for second place out of 18 teams at the Daytona Invitational. The Ramblers played 3 rounds each over March 6th and 7th and shot a team score of 880. The Ramblers were 5th after the first day of the competition, but they saved their best for the last round, shooting a 289. Loyola was paced by senior Timmy Crawford, who shot a 68 in his first round, followed by a pair of 70s, giving him a 208 for the 54 holes played. Crawford finished just 1 stroke shy of earning medalist honors, but was rewarded by being named the Atlantic 10 Golfer of the Week for his performance in Daytona. Loyola has just 2 more competitions remaining before the A10 Championship in Orlando on April 28th. The Ramblers' next tournament is the Any Given Tuesday Intercollegiate in Pawleys Island, South Carolina, from March 27th through March 29th. For RSL, I'm Nate Keough.
Thanks, Nate. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment with Lucas Khimm and this week's hard-hitting sports questions. Here's the Ramble.
Welcome back to The Ramble. I'm your host, Lucas Khimm, here with Nate Keough and William Bazzone. We made it, guys. The men's March Madness tournament is officially here. 68 teams are in contention for the championship trophy, and this year, the 4 number 1 seeds are Houston, Alabama, Kansas, and Purdue. But if you've ever watched the March Madness tournament, you never know who's going to win. So, my question for you guys is, what teams make your Final Four bracket? Nate, I'm going to start off with you.
Yeah, I like Alabama in the top region. I think their path is really easy at this point, especially since Arizona and Virginia, the teams that could probably challenge them the most, both just lost today. So that is looking pretty good for Bama. I mean, the only team I could see challenge them now, possibly Baylor, possibly Creighton, but those teams play tomorrow. We'll still have to see if they survive the first round with all the craziness going on in that region. Who do I like?
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how Alabama does. I mean, I know they're having some legal issues recently, and
That's true.
they did recently lose their last game, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll have to see. But they are one of the favorites. William, how about you?
Well, Lucas, I'm with Nate here. I think Alabama is one of the best teams in the country right now. Yes, they've had some controversy, but personally, they are playing at such an electric rate right now, guys. One of the best offenses in college basketball, just ridiculous from 3. I think they are really unstoppable and are my favorite to win the tournament. And then my other 3 teams, I'm going with Gonzaga, I'm going with Texas, and I'm going with the Purdue Boilermakers.
All right, very interesting takes there. I mean, I feel like for me personally, I don't really want to go for Gonzaga just because I feel like they always mess up. But, they are a Final Four team, and that's I'll keep it at that. I will say my Final Four team, probably going to be Purdue. I think I have Alabama in there. Indiana, I don't know. I like them.
They're a dark horse team. Trace Jackson Davis, a very talented player, but I think they will give a good run. I think if anything, they could play Houston in the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16. It's one of those 2 rounds, but they're going to play them. That's going to be a really great game to watch, and that'll determine if Houston ends up in the Final Four. They could be the ones that upset it because I know a lot of people like Houston. They're the hometown team this year, so. Indiana, I think you have a point there, Lucas.
We'll see. Well. And then I think my 4th team is UCLA because why not? They've been pretty good this whole year. And, to win it all, I would say Purdue. I mean, they're playing at an electric level, and that's just my take on it. But
we'll see. I don't know if I'm with you guys on the Purdue thing or the Indiana thing, to be honest, either of the Big Ten Indiana teams. I just don't like Purdue's team outside of Zach Edey. Their entire game plan is feed the ball inside. And we've seen, especially across their games at the end of the season when they were really starting to lose it, even in the Big Ten tournament when they were challenged by Penn State in the championship game, if you press them, it causes a lot of problems. And I think Memphis, as the 8th seed in that region, is a really, really tough round 2 matchup. And if they get past that, you got to face Duke, one of the hottest teams in the country. I don't see a path where Purdue gets even to the Elite 8. That's just too many tough matchups for me. And Indiana, I think they'll be challenged first round, to be completely honest with you. They're playing a Kent State team, a 13 seed. We just saw a 13 seed win today already. I really like Kent State. They played 2 tough games on the road, lost to Houston in Houston by 5, lost to Gonzaga at Gonzaga by 7. This is a team that can score. Sincere Carey is one of the best point guards in the country. He's completely underrated. And I like Kent State as my dark horse in that region, to be honest with you. I can see them winning 2 games even.
You think the MAC is really that kind of conference, though? I feel like the MAC conference tournament, I think, is exciting. But once they get to play some of these bigger teams, yes, I know Kent State's an exception. They were close with Houston and Gonzaga. But I think Indiana, they look really good. It's exciting to see them back and playing at the level that they are. But I do think your point on Purdue is valid. Look, Zach Edey, he's such a dominant player, great scorer, great rebounder. And you're right, they are a very one-dimensional team. They're a lot younger. They have a lot of freshmen starting and coming off the bench in their rotation. So we'll see, but I do like Zach Edey. I think he was very much deserving of being, a first-team All-American this year. And I think he is arguably the best player in college basketball this
Okay.
year, and I stand by that wholeheartedly.
All right, very good points, guys. Well, I'm looking forward to watching these teams fight for a spot in the semifinals. Thanks, guys, and let's toss it back to our anchors with some sports updates.
Thanks, Lucas. I will personally be rooting for the VCU Rams this time around. Bringing the focus back to Loyola sports, the men's volleyball team is crushing it this season with 8 straight conference wins, staying undefeated with their recent win against McKendree University on March 10th. It marks the 9th win for their undefeated streak. Redshirt sophomore setter Dan Mangun was named National Collegiate Player of the Week by the American Coaches Volleyball Association and Offensive Player of the Week by the Midwestern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association.
That wraps up this episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Loyola RSL and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Amelia Villhauer.
And I'm Samantha Martinez.
We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.